Hi, Jen here. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how I manifested my new home in my favorite place in Southern California. So, for those of you who don't know, this past year has been a really rough, rocky year for me as I've navigated a lot of transition. My 13-year marriage came to an end. And these past 5 months, I have been moving around, kind of living like a nomad, no real home, that no place that I could call home. I've been living in a lot of different Airbnbs and things of that nature. And really with the intention of finding my new home, creating my new home, deciding where I was going to land. Because for a while now, I've been wanting to move out of Dallas. I've always had this travel bug in me, this passion to live different places. And I've been in Dallas for 19 years now. And I have just felt this urge to try out somewhere else. And Southern California, in particular, an area in Southern California around Encinitas, it's near San Diego, has been calling me. I have gotten to spend a lot of time there over the past 6 years. I would go there and spend months at a time. And through the years, I have made some really good friends and built great relationships and connections just by spending time there. And it's fascinating because I seem to effortlessly meet people and make friends there. Very, very synchronistic opportunities would arise, and I would meet somebody, and they became a really close friend. So I've got a lot of friends out there now, and so when things kind of unfolded the way they did with my marriage, I decided to stay in Dallas for a while until I figured out where I wanted to go. And so that area of California has always been like one of the top choices for me. And I was also considering a couple other places. But over the past few months, as I was looking and looking and looking, I just wasn't finding anything. And one of the things that I realized as I was in yet another Airbnb and searching for places in Boulder and Southern California and just not coming up with anything that really spoke to me. I realized the energy behind the desire was very attached. Ultimately, it was very forceful. It was very, this needs to happen now, very clingy. And that's not the energy that leads um, to what it is you want. And I knew that. I just wasn't living it. And so as I was sitting in this Airbnb contemplating what was next, I was about to head out to California for a couple of weeks to visit a friend. And at that point, I had decided I'm not even looking at places out there because there's nothing. Like there's nothing available that falls in line with what I want. So California's off the list. And so I decided I'm just going to go visit some friends, be there for a couple weeks, and enjoy my time there. And this was just a few weeks ago as of this recording, by the way. I've literally been looking for places for months now, 4+ months, and not come up with anything. And it was in that moment that I started to think to myself, gosh, I haven't even looked at places in Dallas. I haven't even considered Dallas. I've been so intent on getting out of Dallas that I haven't even looked at what's available in Dallas. And when I did that, I immediately found a really good option. I went and looked at it the very next day and really liked it. And I put down a deposit on the place. So it was going to be held for me. And at that point, I was content. I guess you could say content. I was okay with staying in Dallas for another year. Like I had just kind of come to that um, decision. I was like, okay, I'll be in Dallas for another year and I can travel, but I'm going to have a home base and that feels really good. And what I realized is that the minute that happened, all attachment to needing to be somewhere else was gone. All force of making something happen was gone. I was now in a place of non-attachment. And that is when everything changed. That's when everything changed. Because there's a few key things to manifesting. One is living in the end, living in the state of the wish fulfilled as if your desire had already happened. So that's one, because that totally changes your inner state. And part of that is non attachment. Because if you've already achieved or received your desire, then you're not attached. There's no clinging, there's no grasping, there's none of that. And that's what shifted in me. I mean, I had been envisioning a home. I'd been really like imagining what it would look like. I've been doing all the practices, really sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously over the years. I even have been on like home tours and gone to open houses out in Southern California over the years and really just like been in these homes and got to feel what it would feel like to live in these spaces. And so all of that over the years definitely played a role to where I am now. But it was that shift in needing it to happen that opened up the door for something that I could have never predicted. So I always imagined, I always desired to have a home in Southern California. It is just going to look a lot different than I originally thought. I thought my husband and I would get a home there, and that's what it was going to look like. And now it looks a whole lot different. But what happened is once I put down that deposit for this apartment in Dallas and just came to the decision that I was going to stay in Dallas for another year, and that attachment, that neediness was released. I went out, I literally flew to California the very next day. I'd already had a 2-week trip planned out there to visit friends. And so I went out there to California. Originally, when I booked that trip, the intention was to go look at places. But at this point, I had decided otherwise. So I was like, I'm not even going to look at places when I'm out there. Just going to visit some friends. I'm going to work. I'm going to enjoy my time. And turns out that while I was out there, I got to see a few friends from my leadership circle that I am in, the leadership training that I have spent the past 2 years in. And we got to talking and found out that we had very similar visions and um, desired a house in this area. And it was actually several things that fell into place because one of the people desired originally to have a house with housemates in the LA area. I was not interested in that area. So I said, good for you. Like, I have no doubt you're going to create that vision. That's awesome. And then as I got to thinking, I started thinking, gosh, I wonder what you could get a house for in this area of California. And so I started that conversation, and one thing led to another, and a home showed up. A home showed up. And and we said yes. And we said yes. And it's a big, beautiful home in the area of California that I love and adore. And what makes it so special too is that it is going to be a conscious community home. I have incredible housemates, and now I get to envision and imagine things that I hadn't even like let myself dream of before, like hosting big events and masterminds and workshops and retreats in this space, because now I've got other housemates that are in this, that work and serve in the same space, and there's opportunity for collaboration, which one of my other visions for such a long time was like-minded community, like-minded, supportive community where we can support each other and collaborate. And that is now going to be part of the living situation. So it's incredible how it all unfolded. I would have never predicted it, and it happened so fast. Once I released the attachment to being in California and it looking a certain way, in less than a week, it all started coming together. And within 2 weeks, we had our home. I had my home. And now I'm preparing to move. So that's a little bit about what's been going on with me right now, and one powerful example of how manifestation can work for you. And so, with that, I am leading a 30-day manifestation challenge that starts on October 2nd, so next week. I invite you to jump on board. And I'm going to give you all the tools and the resources and the tips and the techniques to start putting these practices in place so you can begin consciously manifesting what you want instead of unconsciously manifesting what you don't want. Because again, as I've said before, we're always manifesting, we're always creating. It's just, are we doing it consciously or unconsciously? And what can we shift to really like upgrade our manifestation powers? So I'll be sharing all that with you over these 30 days. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be a fantastic experience. It's going to be lots of fun, lots of education, and very practical tools and tips that you can begin implementing into your life immediately. All right, until next time.